Hello and welcome. Today, we're talking about something very important: meeting people for the first time. When you meet someone new, what do you say? How do you start a conversation? That's what we're going to help you with today.
Yes, meeting new people can feel a little scary, but don't worry. We'll show you simple and natural ways to introduce yourself and start talking. You'll learn some useful words and phrases, and we'll explain how to use them in real conversations.
Let's begin with the basics. When you first meet someone, what's the first thing you usually say?
You usually start with a greeting. The most common way to say hello is just hello or hi, but sometimes people say, hey. That's more casual.
Yes, and if you want to be polite, especially in formal situations, you can say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on the time of day.
That's right. So, if it's a.m., you can say, good morning. But if it's p.m., you can say, good evening.
Now, after saying hello, what's next? You can introduce yourself. A simple way to do this is by saying, I'm Sarah, or my name is Sarah.
Yes, and if you want to ask the other person's name, you can say, what's your name? Or, may I ask your name? The second one is more polite.
Let's put this together. Imagine I meet you for the first time. I can say, hi, I'm Sarah. What's your name?
And I can reply, hi Sarah, I'm Alex. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you is a great phrase to use when you meet someone for the first time. You can also say, it's nice to meet you, or pleased to meet you.
Yes, and if someone says, nice to meet you, you can answer with, nice to meet you too.
Now, after introductions, what happens next? Well, people often ask simple questions to keep the conversation going.
A common question is, where are you from? Or where do you live?
And you can answer by saying, I'm from Brazil, or I live in New York.
Another easy question is, what do you do? This means, what is your job?
Yes, if someone asks, what do you do? You can say, I'm a teacher, or I work in a bank.
And if you are a student, you can say, I'm a student.
These are simple ways to start a conversation. Saying hello, introducing yourself, and asking basic questions help you make a good first impression.
And remember, when you talk to someone new, smile. A friendly smile makes a big difference.
Now that we know how to introduce ourselves, let's talk about what happens after that. When you meet someone new, you don't just say your name and stop talking, right? You need to keep the conversation going.
That's right. And one of the best ways to do that is by asking simple questions. People like to talk about themselves, so asking questions makes the conversation easy.
Yes, we already talked about some basic questions like, where are you from? And what do you do? But there are many more questions you can ask.
A very common question is, how are you? Or, how's it going?
Yes, these are great for small talk. If someone asks you, how are you? You can say, I'm good, thanks. How about you?
Or, if you're feeling really great, you can say, doing great. And if you're just okay, you can say, I'm fine.
Another easy question is about hobbies. You can ask, what do you like to do in your free time? Or simply, what are your hobbies?
And you can answer by saying something like, I like reading, or enjoy playing soccer. You can also say, I love watching movies, or really into music.
Yes, I'm really into is a nice way to say that you like something a lot. For example, I'm really into photography.
That's a great phrase. Now, another way to keep a conversation going is to ask about the other person's family. A simple question is, do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, and you can answer by saying, yes, I have one brother, or no, I'm an only child, which means you don't have any brothers or sisters.
You can also ask, do you have any pets? This is a fun question because many people love to talk about their pets.
Yes, and if you do have a pet, you can say, yes, I have a dog, or I have 2 cats.
Now, let's talk about something very important: showing interest in the conversation.
That's right. When you meet someone for the first time, you don't just ask a question and wait for the answer. You should react and show that you are listening.
A great way to do this is by saying things like, Really? Or, that's interesting. Or, wow, that's cool.
Yes, if someone says, I have a pet rabbit, you can say, oh, really? That's so cute.
Or if someone says, I love traveling, you can say, wow, what's your favorite place you visited?
This keeps the conversation natural and friendly. It also makes the other person feel comfortable talking to you.
So, when you meet someone new, remember to ask questions, give short answers, and show interest. That's how you have a great first conversation.
Now that we know how to ask and answer basic questions, let's talk about how to make conversations more interesting. When you meet someone for the first time, you don't just ask short questions and give short answers, you also share more about yourself.
That's right. If someone asks you, what do you like to do in your free time? You don't have to say just, I like reading. You can add more details. For example, you can say, I like reading mystery books. My favorite author is Agatha Christie.
Yes, giving a little more information helps the conversation continue. It also makes it easier for the other person to ask follow-up questions.
That's a great point. Let's practice. Sarah, ask me a question.
Sure, Alex. What do you like to do in your free time?
I love playing the guitar. I started learning when I was 10 years old, and now play every day.
That's great. What kind of music do you like to play?
I really like rock music, but sometimes I play pop songs too.
See? Because Alex gave more details, I could ask another question. This keeps the conversation interesting.
Exactly. Another way to make conversations better is by using because. For example, if someone asks, what's your favorite food? Instead of saying, I like pizza, you can say, I like pizza because I love cheese.
Yes, adding because makes your answer more natural and gives more information. Let's try another example. Alex, what's your favorite season?
I like summer because I love going to the beach and swimming. What about you?
I like autumn because the weather is cool and the leaves change color.
That's a great way to explain your answer.
Now, let's talk about agreeing and disagreeing politely. When you meet someone new, you might have different opinions. You don't always have to agree, but it's important to be polite.
Yes, if someone says, I love winter, and you don't like winter, you don't have to say, no, I hate it. Instead, you can say, oh, really? I prefer summer because I like warm weather.
That's a great tip. You can also say, I see. I like summer more, but winter is nice too.
And if you agree with someone, you can say, me too, or I agree.
Yes, if someone says, I love chocolate, you can say, me too. It's so delicious.
These small phrases help you sound friendly and natural in conversations.
So, to make your first meeting more interesting, remember to add details to your answers. Use because and be polite when you agree or disagree.
That's how you have a natural and fun conversation when meeting someone for the first time.
So far, we've talked about introducing yourself, asking simple questions, and keeping the conversation interesting. Now, let's talk about body language and tone of voice. When you meet someone for the first time, it's not just about what you say, it's also about how you say it.
That's right. Your body language and tone of voice can make a big difference. For example, if you say, nice to meet you, but you don't smile, it might not sound friendly.
Yes, a smile is very important. When you smile, you look friendly and confident. People feel more comfortable talking to you.
Another important thing is eye contact. When you talk to someone, try to look at their face, but don't stare too much. Looking at someone when they speak shows that you are listening.
Yes, but in some cultures, people don't make a lot of eye contact. If you feel uncomfortable, you can look at the person's nose or mouth instead of their eyes. That still shows that you are paying attention.
That's a great tip. Now, let's talk about tone of voice. If you say something in a flat voice, it might sound like you are bored. For example, listen to this. Oh, that's interesting, said in a monotone voice.
That doesn't sound very interested. But if you say it with energy, like, oh, that's interesting, then it sounds much better.
Exactly. A little change in your voice can make your words sound more natural and friendly.
Another thing to remember is gestures. Some people use their hands when they talk. This makes the conversation feel more natural.
Yes, if you say, I love music, and you move your hands a little, it looks more natural, but don't move too much, it's good to be relaxed.
That's true. Now, let's talk about something very important: what to do when you don't understand something.
Yes, when you meet someone new, they might say something you don't understand. That's okay, you can ask them to repeat.
A simple way to ask is, "Sorry, can you say that again?" Or, "I didn't catch that. Can you repeat it?"
You can also say, what does that mean? If you don't know a word, most people will be happy to explain.
And if someone is speaking too fast, you can say, "Sorry, could you speak more slowly?" That's a polite way to ask them to slow down.
These small phrases can help you feel more confident in conversations.
So, when you meet someone for the first time, remember to smile, make eye contact, use a friendly tone of voice, and don't be afraid to ask if you don't understand something.
That's how you can make a great first impression and have a smooth conversation.
We've talked about introductions, asking questions, body language, and how to keep a conversation going. Now, let's talk about how to end a conversation politely.
Yes, when you meet someone for the first time, you don't talk forever. At some point, you need to end the conversation. But how do you do it naturally?
A good way to end a conversation is by showing that you enjoyed talking. You can say, "It was nice talking to you," or "I really enjoyed our conversation."
Yes, and if you want to meet again, you can say, let's talk again soon, or I hope we can meet again.
Another way to end a conversation is by mentioning that you have to go. You can say, "Well, I should get going," or "I have to go now, but it was great talking to you."
And if you're in a place like a party or an event, you can say, I'm going to talk to some other people, but it was really nice meeting you. That sounds natural and friendly.
Yes, and don't forget to say, "Have a great day," or "Take care," before you leave.
Now, let's practice. Imagine we just met and had a short conversation. I'll show you how to end it.
Sounds good. Let's start.
So, Sarah, it was really nice talking to you. I have to go now, but I hope we can talk again soon.
Yes, it was great talking to you too. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks. You too.
See, that was natural and polite.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about one more thing: exchanging contact information.
Yes, if you want to stay in touch with someone, you can ask, "Do you have Instagram?" Or, "Can I add you on WhatsApp?"
You can also say, what's the best way to contact you? This is a polite way to ask how someone prefers to communicate.
And if you're in a work situation, you can ask, "Do you have a business card?" Or, "Can I connect with you on LinkedIn?"
If someone asks for your contact and you don't want to share it, you can say, I don't really use social media much, but it was great meeting you. That way, you're polite, but you don't have to share your information.
That's a good tip. So, when ending a conversation, remember to be polite, say something nice, and if you want, exchange contact information.
That way, you leave a good impression, and maybe you'll make a new friend.
Now that we've talked about introductions, asking and answering questions, body language, keeping a conversation going, and ending a conversation, let's do a quick review of everything we've learned.
Yes, when you meet someone for the first time, you start with a simple introduction. You say, Hi, I'm Alex. Nice to meet you. And the other person says, Nice to meet you too.
After that, you can ask simple questions like, "Where are you from? What do you do?" Or, "What are your hobbies?"
And when you answer, it's good to add a little more information. Instead of just saying, I like music, you can say, I like music because it helps me relax. My favorite artist is Ed Sheeran.
Right. This makes the conversation more interesting and helps the other person ask more questions.
We also talked about showing interest. You can say things like, oh really? That's interesting. Or, wow, that's cool. To keep the conversation friendly.
Yes, and don't forget about body language. Smile, make eye contact, and use a friendly tone of voice. This helps you sound more natural and confident.
If you don't understand something, you can ask, sorry, can you say that again? Or, what does that mean?
And when it's time to end the conversation, You can say, "It was nice talking to you," or "I have to go now, but I hope we can talk again soon."
And if you want to stay in touch, you can ask, "Do you have Instagram?" Or, "Can I add you on WhatsApp?"
So, now you have all the tools to have a great first conversation in English. Just remember to be polite, show interest, and relax.
Yes, meeting new people can feel scary, but the more you practice, the easier it gets.
We hope this podcast helped you feel more confident in your English conversations.
If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share this podcast with your friends and family.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.